Hi everyone, welcome to the Writer Magazine's Critique My Query. I'm Marla Miller, and I do a version of this in a workshop that I call Quick Query Critique. And many of you may know me from marketingthemuse.com. I have been teaching writers on the road to publication for several years now. And a workshop that's very popular is the one that's called Quick Query Critique. And what we do in it is the author gets up, reads their query letter, and then they sit down and they're quiet, and the workshop critiques it, and I offer mine last for obvious reasons. And so I've been doing it at marketingthemuse.com with great success, and asked my pals at the writer if they would be interested, and they were, and so this is the first of several. I've got a stack of query letters, so I'm just delighted. Thank you very much for sending them. The first one is fiction, and I'm just going to go ahead and read it. I think it should be on the website, although I'm doing this prior to discussing the final details of how we're going to present it. So I'm assuming that they will post the query letter on the website as well. Okay, here we go. This is fiction. Dear Agent, 18-year-old Casey Newman has spent the past 6 years of her life hiding the fact that she is a werewolf. She believes that Brianna, as she calls her wolf self, is unpredictable, rash, and dangerous. She avoids phasing unless it is time for the full moon. Casey has no trouble accepting herself as a blind person. In fact, the heightened senses she gains when becoming a werewolf teach her more about the people around her than she would have known or would have wanted to know otherwise. While attending college in present-day Denver, Colorado, Casey is forced to accept herself as a werewolf. Casey's human best friend, Justine, invites her out to dinner so she can meet Justine's new boyfriend, Tony. Casey is horrified to realize that Tony isn't human, but Justine doesn't notice. She is transfixed by Tony's velvet voice, beautiful eyes, and buff body. Casey is blind, so she isn't distracted by Tony's human facade. She notices that he doesn't eat anything at dinner and that his scent is too sweet. It is all Casey can do to keep her body from quivering, to keep the snarls from coming out of her mouth, to keep from phasing right in the middle of the crowded restaurant. Casey's violent reaction to Tony doesn't make sense to her because Tony is very kind to Justine and doesn't treat Casey any differently than any other humans do. She doesn't know who or what he is, but something deep inside Casey tells her that Tony is dangerous. Although Casey feels that Justine might be in over her head, she can't let on that Tony is not human without revealing her own deepest secret. I'm seeking representation for my young adult fantasy novel, tentatively titled Changes. It's 67 plus thousand words long. I am in a unique position to write the book because, like Casey, I am blind. One of my short stories was published in X. When I was 12, another was published in Y, which is an anthology of short stories. My lifestyle articles appear regularly in the student newspaper, Z. Thank you for your time and consideration. I look forward to hearing from you. Sincerely. Okay, what do I think of this young adult novel that is fantasy and about a werewolf? I like it. It got my interest, despite the fact that it's confusing in terms of setting up the story. I think that there is a story here, at least there seems to be, and this author has my interest. A couple of things. I think that this query letter would be served very well if she refined the arc of delivering this information. And if I were her, I would consider opening with Casey has no trouble accepting the fact that she's blind. What she does have trouble with is accepting the fact that she's a werewolf. So now we've established right off the bat that we've got a blind werewolf here who doesn't like her werewolf side, but also seems to have the ability to discern evil, and in doing so, I'm guessing is going to save her best friend, the human. And so if that's what this story is about, I get it from this query, but I think that I would be more compelled to ask for the first three chapters or more if this author spent more time setting this query up. So again, I would open it with protagonist has no trouble with blindness, has trouble with werewolf. Boom, we're off and running. You've hooked the agent, I think. And then take a look at that second paragraph, because this is a good example of what authors do. You know, we can write long novels that are 67,000 words plus. But when it comes to writing a query about our novel that's 300 to 500 words, we have a much more difficult time, and that's very true for most of us. So I think that this query letter illustrates that very nicely. This writer does not trust the fact that she is telling this story, so she keeps repeating information. Take a look at all the repetition and get rid of it, and make sure that you keep the tension, because there's tension here, and you will find that when you clean this up, the tension will increase. That's it. I'm not going to say any more. I think we hit the speed bumps. I'd be really interested if anyone saw anything else, if anything else popped up. Go to the website and find a way to communicate that with me, because that's how we all learn. My next query letter will be nonfiction. So if the second writer who sent a query, if that isn't nonfiction, I'm going to pull until I get nonfiction, because what I want to do with Critique My Query is make sure that I offer fiction and nonfiction, and I want to do that on a rotating basis, so that everyone knows that this is a place that they can come to get their queries critiqued. Until the next one, thank you for tuning in, and I'm Marla Miller at marketingthemuse.com.